What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Morbid Curator Podcast. It's comic book week. On this episode, we're going to be talking about Marvel Spotlight number 5, written by Marv Wolfman, and the artist is Steve Ditko. Came out in 1972. It's a fucking classic. First appearance of Johnny Blaze and first appearance of Ghost Rider. So, and I have a special, my good friend Science Bro. What's up, man?
Am I special guest now? I mean, it's been a couple times.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. You're not special anymore, man.
That's why I'm happy to be here again.
the cat's out of the bag, man. You're gonna be on here all the time, man.
I'll be on here often. It's all good. I can put it in between, hunting and evil fighting and all that good stuff, and pizza eating and other debauchery that I get involved with. But yeah, this was a cool book. Ghost Rider, or what? I'll admit to everybody, I won't lie. I thought we were reading Ghost Rider number 1, so I read that book, and I was like, "You told me about it." I was like, before he's like, "Oh yeah, get ready for this and this," and I was like, I don't remember any of this happening. Am I reading the right book? And then I go back, and of course, it's Marvel Spotlight number 5. I swear the covers. I think because the covers look so similar.
Yeah,
and I just looked at the cover.
I'm pretty sure it played homage to the Marvel Spotlight. It looked just like the picture that you showed me. So
it does, and everything's an homage. Everything, I swear. Yeah, because he's always like popping a wheelie in the air. So that's like. Back in the 70s, that was like when you're like a rebel and you pop a wheelie on a motorcycle. So it's like, oh man, this guy sold his soul to the devil. He's popping wheelies.
That's how they make their money now, is all the homages to everything.
Right? Dude, it's crazy now. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous that we still buy it, even though we know it's ridiculous.
It's true.
I can't tell you how many of the same homages I have.
Right, and some of them don't even make sense. Like, you got the Spider-Man one with the webs and all that stuff, but no, let's just have one that's just a character in the same position,
right?
Like that one. What was that one we saw? That Vampirella one. It was horrible. I can't remember who the artist was. I guess I don't want to put a name out there, but it was just bad.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
like, dude. But yeah, what'd you think of the book?
Dude, I really dug it. I never read it before. I never read his origin before. It was a fun book. It's definitely a product of his time.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
for sure. As far as the writing goes, which it makes sense. Go ahead.
It does make sense. It's just really, I can't explain it. It just the things that happen are just weird, kind of like it's. Everything's like spur of the moment. It makes sense, but it just kind of happens, and you're like, "But why did that have to happen?" Like,
they just kind of got right into it really fast.
Yeah, they did. They just started it with him at the beginning. He sees somebody getting robbed and shot, and he just like drives by.
Dude, that's what I was confused about. I thought I was reading the wrong book again. I'm like, what is going on? Why is he already in the?
Yeah,
the Ghost Rider form. Am I reading the wrong book? I mean, I don't know if that was like a normal thing, because usually origin stories always start not as I mean, what I know of, the old ones, they always started off as like not, the superhero at the beginning. But this one was like a flashback, like it showed.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the same thing, because I was like, I thought this was the first appearance of Ghost Rider. Why is he? They didn't show us, because obviously by now we know Johnny Blaze. Like, it's 2022. We know who Johnny Blaze is. We know who Ghost Rider is. So why was Ghost Rider just already Ghost Rider?
Right. I also enjoyed when he's running from those guys at the beginning, like the guys he witnessed the murder, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and he's scared of these 2 henchmen guys. He's like, can't get away from them. I don't understand. I guess this must be obviously before his bike turns into fire, because his bike, I don't think, was fire, like the wheels and stuff, right? It was just his head. So
Yeah.
I guess his bike was still kind of grounded in reality, where it wouldn't climb up the sides of buildings and
Right.
fly. So I guess he was like so scared trying to get away from these guys, like they were going to shoot him. But like maybe they hadn't fleshed out the whole character, as far as his powers yet, because it was the first one, and
Right. I think
whoever.
I think that he was also afraid of them like noticing him, like
Yeah,
just word of mouth, like getting around, like, oh, dude, there's like a dude with a fucking flaming head, and
right.
so he was trying to get away from him, and it didn't. It was cool that they were like chasing him and stuff, but even when they seen his face, or they didn't see his face, but they like seen the glow around the skull, like
Right.
his head. They didn't. I guess they didn't really know it was a skull either, but they were like, "What the hell is this?" But they're like, "Nothing that a bullet can't fix," or or something. It's like cheesy
Oh
70s
yeah,
bully lines.
for sure. And like, I thought maybe he just didn't want to hurt him or something, but it's Ghost Rider. So, but like I said, it's
Yeah,
the
I mean that.
beginning of it. Right, it's the beginning of it. So I was like, I don't understand. Why doesn't he just like run him over with his bike and give him the penance stare? But maybe this is before the penance stare. So listeners that know about this character more than I do will give me the last rites because I don't know when that started. All I know is maybe I just watched too much Nicolas Cage movies, but
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what I was
know.
gonna say. I honestly can admit that this is. I'm pretty sure. Besides the new, I have read the new Ghost Riders, a couple of them that came out like recently, 2021, 2022. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, right.
The current ones, I've read those, but other than those, this is like the first Ghost Rider book I've read, that I've read. I've seen the movies, the Nicolas Cage
Mhm.
movies and stuff, but this was I don't
I
know a whole lot besides the movies. Going off the movies, I don't really know much about the.
right.
So this was kind of like a
I
first.
I read them years ago. I won't tell you how long ago, but I've read them before, and I know, I mean, a little bit. So I kind of knew a little bit about the character, but obviously not the details of why he's scared of bullets in this first issue. So
Right. Well, then he even like he goes into the. They're still chasing him. He goes into the alley to get away from him, but
hmm
and he decides that he can't really get away from him, so he wants to scare him, and he like shoots flames around him as it kind of like circles him, and he says something about him like working for Satan or something uh
right.
to kind of scare him.
He's like, it's funny because he's like, maybe if I can bluff these guys, they'll let me go. Yeah, let me bluff them by throwing fire. That's
Right.
not really a bluff, dude. You're like,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
pretty legit. You're
I
gonna like
don't.
light them up if they don't let you if they don't let you pass. So yeah, that's not really a bluff. That's pretty much a threat.
Right. And it still didn't even really phase the thugs. Like they were just like still like, oh well, he can still get shot and stuff.
I don't even think they shot him. They never even took a shot.
No,
I
I
don't
think
think.
I believe it showed him like pointing the gun, and then he ends up just like ramping over him. I'm pretty
Right.
positive.
Yeah. So and after that, it kind of goes in like because he goes out in hiding, right? He's trying to hide for whatever. Then it goes into the flashback.
Yeah, because
I think.
that at that point it mentions that nobody knows like really what happened with Johnny Blaze. Like that's when it like first mentioned Johnny Blaze's name, and it's like no one knows what happened to the man, at least not yet. And then it goes into the flashback where
Right.
it shows it. So his dad Barton Blaze died in that cycle show. He like was doing a stunt because he was a stunt man, and
Okay, that's right.
yeah, he just like
Of
crashed.
course.
And then it shows like so it just shows his dad dying. It doesn't like really show. It was just like one panel. It didn't show anything other than that. And then it shows Crash Simpson like sitting down with Johnny, and I'm pretty sure Roxanne was there, and he was like, you don't have a mom. I'm sorry that your dad died, and you don't have a mother, so we're gonna either have to like take you in, or you're gonna have to go to an orphanage.
I know, and the kid, if we ask the kid this, let me see. Let me think about that for a second.
Right? Yeah. Like who's gonna be like, you know what? Orphanage sounds great.
Orphanage sounds good. Let's do the orphanage. I don't want to live. I don't want to live with the pretty girl and the daredevil couple
Right.
that do circuses at like as a 9-year-old or 10 or however old he's supposed to be in this.
Yeah. And then Roxanne like begged him like, Johnny, please stay with us. And that made up his mind. He's like, oh hell yeah. Like
That's a whole other thing. I know I get ahead of ourselves, but this is like supposed to be like a sister type figure, and like it becomes a love interest later on.
yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
really there's a lot of weird things in this book that just makes me like, I'm just like, why? Like why?
It's
Like
a
why
pro-
was
it's a product of its time. I think some of the storytelling of it. I think that's what it is.
yeah, because we'll get to a few things later where it's just like, what? Like, yeah, but then he ends up staying with Crash Simpson and Roxanne and Miss Simpson. That they never gave her name, I don't think. But and it he Johnny Blaze finally like faces fear, after his dad dying.
Mhm.
He kind of just didn't ride for a long time and stuff like that, but he ended up getting his confidence back up. But when I think he was like 15 years old, he crashed his bike into a tree. You remember that scene? And it shows like
Yeah.
it shows Miss Simpson like jumping at him to kind of save him, and Johnny's like, no, don't and stuff, and it blows up. The bike blows up, and she ends up in the hospital and like on her deathbed, which is another weird thing. Like it,
Don't ever ride a bike again because I'm
yeah,
on my deathbed. I don't understand that. I don't know why somebody would say that
yeah.
on their
Instead
deathbed.
of just being like, I love you, as a son, you were, we took you in, you were a good son, or no, none of that. It was,
Right.
don't
None of
ever
that.
ride in the show ever again.
Don't ride ever ride again because I hurt. I don't know.
Right.
Even though that's my whole life or my family's whole livelihood, I don't want you
Right.
doing it ever again. Yeah.
And then he kept his promise for like 5 years. And it was funny as hell because Crash was like talking shit about how,
Yeah.
and then Roxanne like calls him a coward. I'm like,
Dude, I
dude,
know
what?
that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, what is this family's harsh? I mean, they know about the promise that he made, and like they're like really coming down on him hard
Well,
about
at
it.
this point, they didn't know about the promise.
Oh, they
Uh,
didn't.
no, because there's a later on in one of the panels, he's telling
Mm.
Roxanne that you know, we'll get to that. I'll get to that part. It's like later.
Okay, I must have forgotten about that. Okay.
But to on a side note, I mean, they did know that his dad died riding a bike.
It's
So
true.
it's you don't want to. Why would he want to ride? I don't know.
I don't know. That's some hardcore training there. I don't know. I don't care. Your daddy died in a motorcycle accident. Get your ass on
Right.
it.
But he ends up, getting. He feels weird that they're calling him a coward. So he wants to ride. He just is kind of afraid to, and so he's kind of watching from behind, from the shadows, I guess, and watching them do the shows because the shows continued to go on. So he misses riding, and he's just watching from the shadows, but he didn't. He starts like practicing without anybody knowing, like in secret. He's just kind of riding his bike in secret, and then Roxanne ends up catching him and just kind of watching, I guess.
Dude, yeah, dude. There's like a panel where he's riding his motorcycle like with his head. I don't know. Did
Yeah,
you see
dude.
that? How do you even do that? I want to see somebody do that. Is that like a real thing? I need to Google
He was
that.
like doing a handstand or something on the handlebars or something.
That is some serious core strength, let me tell you right there.
Right, dude. Damn. No wonder she. And then in like the next panel, she's like, I noticed you riding and you're really good. And then she like ends up kissing him.
Yeah.
And then that's when I'm like, dude, like I mean, I guess shit
Must be like
happens.
a sister. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I don't know if I got like if I got taken in by a family, I mean that's kind of your sister, man. It's kind of just
Yeah, especially at that young age. Good Lord. And
right,
she's been watching for months and she hasn't said anything. Tell you what.
right. That is kind of weird. and then here's another weird thing that happened in the book too. So after they kiss or whatever, it goes to another panel where they're all in the kitchen and they get a call from somebody saying that they got like a gig at the Madison Square Garden to do like a record breaking jump or something. And just randomly, they're like, "Oh, let's celebrate, no practicing tonight, let's celebrate." And then her dad was just like, "Yeah, I'm dying."
I know, it's out of nowhere. I mean, dun,
Like
dun,
it doesn't
dun.
the book doesn't like work up to it, like that you don't get any other info like leading up to that point that he's sick
Nothing.
or anything. Nothing. He's just like, "Yeah, I'm dying in a month."
I'm dying. Yep, that's it. I'm done.
I'm like, dude, what kind of writing is this? Like it's not bad. It was a good book, but it's just like, it is definitely in its time. Like,
Probably a lot of cocaine was done writing
right.
this book. In his late 70s or mid late
Drugs,
70s.
drugs
Or
were.
some kind of, maybe not, no, what was it, 73? Oh, this might have been just like acid or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you were born around that time, weren't you? So you're
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, something like that. Something like that. No, I was just gonna say, like you said, they're in that room talking and all this stuff, and his dad gives that breaking information, and then what happens? They get in a fight about it, and Johnny doesn't want to ride again, right?
Yeah, he doesn't want to ride.
Oh, that's what it is. No, sorry, the guy, the dad, the Bart, what's his name? Not Bart Simpson. What's his name? The old guy. He wants him. He wish he had a son to take over, and the kid won't do it still because he made the promise. And then the Roxanne or whatever Rocky goes in and calls him a coward again.
Yeah.
Like after all this stuff is going on, I mean, I tell you, this is like an emotionally abusive family. I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, there's just like kicking him while he's down kind of shit. It's like
terrible,
dude. And
like,
oh yeah, and then she was like, right after she called him a coward, she was like, "Go ahead and keep her promise," because after she called him a coward, he tells her like about the promise or whatever, and that's when she's like, "Go ahead and keep your promise, but it'll cost you my love forever."
Terrible. That's like her mom. I mean,
yeah,
I don't understand.
and
It's crazy.
And then Crash is like disappointed in him, and he's like, "Get out."
Yeah, and then like the next panel, well, the only thing left to do, Satan.
Yeah. So I want the followers to know this is like the most crazy, weird, like instant thing that happened in a book that I've ever read, where he just like turns to Satan because Crash tells him to get out. He's just like, "There's only one thing I can do," and then he like starts talking to Satan and shit.
It goes from like Seventh Heaven to a 1970s Satan exploitation movie in like a half a panel.
And then it just caught me off guard. I don't know, because usually, I'm not a religious person. I don't really like to talk about it because I know, especially on a podcast, because you know how people get and stuff. But it was just weird to me that like in a book in the 70s, like it's like Satan is like the topic of who he goes to for
like instantly.
Instantly, nothing. He was like, and then he's like, "Appear, Prince of Darkness."
Yeah, he knows how to talk to him. He knows the words. How does he know the words? How to talk? I'd be like, "Yo, Prince of Darkness, what's up?
Right?
Are you here?" Or... No, he's like talking like Shakespeare to the Satan.
Yeah, and then it shows. It's kind of like I will admit, it's kind of like a badass.
Yeah.
Where Satan like kind of shows up and he's like sitting on a throne,
right,
like looking
no,
over.
that's cool. Yeah, I like the colors that they use for all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and he's cut. Sorry, real quick. He looks like Johnny's like he must have like carved a pentagram or something, or not. No, it's not really a pentagram. But anyways, he carved like something in his chest at some point.
Yeah,
and they don't show him doing that. I don't know why. I wish they would have showed him doing that because it would have made more sense. But it's gone. Well, it's there one time. It's bloody, but then it's gone. Maybe it was not his blood. Maybe it was a goat's blood or something. I don't know.
Right. For some reason, to me, it looked like the anarchy symbol.
It does, yeah, a little
like
bit.
I don't know why that would be what it is, but yeah.
Well, the first panel that has it, he looks like he's got Captain America's star on his front of his chest, and then he goes to the next one and it's blood dripping down. So it's obviously not that. But then the next one, it's gone completely. So
yeah, this book was definitely kind of like all over the place with with shit. But I mean, it's a classic. You can't, you got to respect the classics. So
it is. Oh yeah, I do.
For the time, man, it was definitely even the artwork. It's definitely to today's standards is very cheesy. Kids nowadays would be like, "What the hell is that kind of art?" But I respect it. I love it. It's if it wasn't for that shit, we wouldn't have what we have today. So
yeah, I know. I love the art on this stuff. I dig it. I can almost smell the newspaper material that they used for it. I loved it. That's one of the best things I like doing these old comic books. When you get one, you open it up, you breathe it in.
Oh yeah,
breathe in that smell. It smells just like old newspaper. It's fantastic. They don't have that anymore. Everything's like glossy and plastic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely really really cool. But it was so funny because he wants to spare Crash's life for whatever reason. Because at this point, I'd be like, fuck Crash, fuck Roxanne.
Right?
They keep calling me cowards. I'm done here. But no, he goes to Satan, of all people, to spare Crash's life from the disease that's killing him, which we know nothing about. We don't even know what the disease is.
Right. He just says the disease. I got the disease.
And he's going to die in less than a month. And then Satan says it's done. He literally is just like, it's like 2 panels. He talks to Satan, and then it's like Satan says he's done, and he'll collect his fee at some point, and then it's over with.
Yep. Gotta get right to it.
Yeah. He works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I don't know, a couple weeks passed or whatever, after he, talked to Satan, and they're at Madison Square Garden for that jump, and Roxanne goes up to Johnny and is like, Dad's gonna jump, and the old man's trying to do it. He's like, and I get it, I guess, if he's gonna die anyway, why not go out dying the way,
Well, I thought it would have been like, oh, the doctor came back with some great news. I'm not gonna die now, or something like that. No, this guy has no idea that he's gonna live.
Right.
So he's like, screw this. I'm gonna jump over 37,000 cars right now because I don't care.
Right? Yeah. He's like, you only live once. Fuck it. Let's go.
It's a slight exaggeration. It's not quite 37,000.
If you're being technical, I think it was like 22 cars.
Something like 22. Yeah. Yeah.
And John, she wants Johnny to talk him out of it, and he's like, how the hell am I going to talk him out of doing that? And he's like, he says something like, and I'm the coward, or something.
Right.
Like how's the coward going to talk somebody out of doing something? And he ends up, he's like, you know what? I know Satan has my back. He's not going to let him die because we have a deal.
That's why he's so dumb. He said the deal was for the sickness, not anything else. So he shouldn't even thought that in the first place.
Yeah. So that's
like, wait a second. This isn't sickness. This is just, I don't know, machismo trying to jump 22 cars because he doesn't care.
Right. Yeah, it was funny as hell because, he thinks that Satan has his back, but he goes to jump the cars and he ends up breaking all the bones. It doesn't say specifically.
I'm pretty sure he's dead.
But I'm pretty sure he's dead though.
Well, they show there's a panel real quick. There's a panel of him on a stretcher with the sheet over his face. So.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I only know that because I read it very recently.
Right. Yeah, I remember it saying something about broken bones, but yeah, I mean, if it has a sheet over, I assume that he was dead. I don't think they specified, but I'm pretty
That
sure.
was like in the 70s and the 80s. That was like the classic way in movies to tell if somebody's dead. The sheets
Yeah,
over the face.
yeah,
That's it.
sheet over
You're not coming back from the sheet.
face. Right.
Once that's over, you're done.
That's what my slogan should be. It's like, get hip or you'll end up in the sheet.
Yep, you get the sheet over the face.
uh, but yeah, and then so he's like dead, and Johnny gets the brightest idea he's ever had to go to go jump. Like it's like the next fucking panel. He's like, "Oh my god, Roxanne's dad's dead." Also his dad. Let's just point that out a little bit.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, whatever. Took him in,
Raised
him, and in that same scene, he's like, "You know what? Let's start up the bike." He's like, "I'm doing this shit for whatever reason. Like why? I don't know why, but he just does it. He ends up landing it." But Roxanne ends up once again. He lands it, but Roxanne's all pissed off at him. That she's like, "How could you do this?" After what happened to Dad.
It's ungrateful.
Yeah.
No pleasing. I mean, when your dad's like the biggest daredevil, whatever, Evel Knievel person ever, it's pretty hard to top that when you're in that line of work. So it's kind of hard to, meet that bar.
Right. What is it, like the third or fourth time that she's just been like a bitch to him,
Pretty much. She's just, nothing's good enough.
It's like, man, come on.
It's like you called me a coward this whole time. This whole comic, you're calling me a coward for not doing anything. And then I do like the biggest jump ever that everybody's ever done.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I'm out.
Yeah, it was record breaking. He's like, yeah. She even said, like, I never want to see you again.
It's like, did it for her dad. And she's like, I'm done.
And then, like, right after that, it's like so fast. Like, this whole book is just so quick. Every panel, like, just something happens, and literally she's like, I never want to see you again, and walks out the door. And then Satan shows up.
He's like, come from us for the deal.
Yeah, he's like,
it's pretty much like a monkey's paw thing. Do you know what that is? Like a monkey's paw, like the old story where like people wish for something and like you'll get your wish, but something bad is going to happen for your wish to come true.
Okay. Yeah, so I never heard that before, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's an old story about like somebody found like a monkey's paw, like a severed monkey's paw, and it's like the fingers are sticking up like three, like stiff, and each time you make a wish, one goes down. But like I said, anything, if something bad happens, like whenever you wish for something good. So, but yeah, pretty much like that. Yeah, Satan comes back. He's like, "Well, I told you, he didn't die of sickness, did he? Ha ha ha!" Right. he just broke every bone in his body instead. So
yeah,
about that soul.
Yeah, he's like, I'm here to claim my reward, and it's your soul.
It's not even that. I mean, I think actually Johnny Blaze got off pretty good with this because like most people probably just get their soul taken and they go to hell. No, he got like a badass bike and like he's like, I don't know, eternal.
Yeah,
live forever.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind being Ghost Rider.
I mean, if you have to, if you have to make that deal, then at least you get to, still roam the earth and be a superhero.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be afraid of some bullets or a couple thugs.
Right.
Damn sure.
Right. So yeah, then they show, what do? They show him like kind of morphing into Ghost Rider for the first time a little bit, I guess, when Satan comes and claims his prize.
Yeah,
they don't really. Why do they walk through? They kind of. I guess they don't go into it in this one too much. Why he turns him into this Ghost Rider persona?
Just I don't know.
He just says to walk the earth as my emissary in the dark hours. So I don't know.
They didn't really
claim souls or something like that. I forget. I'm not sure.
I know in the Nicolas Cage movies, and I know it's like different and shit, but I know that like he claimed the souls of just of
Yeah.
usually like thugs and shit. But
So that's probably what it was later on. Like they probably go into it in other books later on.
yeah, because it's the first appearance of them, so
Right.
they didn't really know. I don't think what they really wanted to do with them probably. So they didn't really tell us a whole lot. But yeah, he ends up just Ghost Rider just claims souls, and it it was
Oh
cool.
wait.
It was really cool. He like it showed his face, like kind of turning into the skull and catching on fire. And then another random ass moment in this book. What is it, like random moment number 7? Roxanne comes in and she's like, "No, no, I expected it, but I didn't want to believe it." And you're like, "What? What do you mean? Like what? What do you mean you expected?" And then she starts speaking like satanic words. And
She says she's read the books or something like that, like while he wasn't looking. So she's like knows what he's been doing, I guess.
yeah,
But he really hasn't even been doing it that long. So I don't
yeah,
understand.
he did it in one panel. We don't understand.
ID part cursed woman. I don't know. Oh no, that's what Satan says. He said, "Oh yeah, sorry. I was kind of looking over it at the same time." Satan's like, "Oh yeah, you know what to say, so I'm leaving now because your words."
Yeah, which is how is Satan all this big old powerful thing, and then he's just like, "Oh, you said a couple words.
Yeah,
I'm leaving now."
yeah, that's pretty well. She's pretty terrible. So
Yeah, right? Yeah, he was
like,
probably afraid of being
whoa,
called a coward.
Roxanne. Exactly, Roxanne. I know about you. I heard about you. I'm out of here. I'm
Yeah,
not dealing with you this today. I'm
yeah.
not dealing with this.
She would have knocked his confidence down.
So yeah, she what she does? She does that. She makes Satan disappear, and then I don't know. That's like, well, they kind of just. I mean, that's the last thing you hear from her, really.
Yeah, it doesn't even show her leaving or anything. It just the next. I don't have the book in front of me, so I'm kind of just going off memory. But I'm pretty sure it like goes like it doesn't show her leaving, does it?
No, they just like hold each other, and then like he's in costume. That's
Yeah,
about it.
he's
Like
like
I guess that night in Madison Square Garden, he turns into the full Ghost Rider mode for the first time. He has to like dip out before anybody can see him.
yeah, and then it's like talking about how much how much longer until everybody finds out, and he's not sure on. He's kind of putting two and two together that it's like a night and day kind of thing. Like during the day he's human, and then at night he turns into the Ghost Rider. Uh,
Right.
puts that together, but you don't really know much about that. And then it shows him with the newspaper when he's what does it say on the newspaper that like the police are after him because those
Yeah, those two guys that
is
murdered
it
somebody, and he witnessed it. Like that's the headlines, the Ghost Rider, not the fact that they killed somebody. So
right.
that's like if the Ghost Rider is the main, which I guess it would be if you saw a flaming skull person riding a motorcycle. That kind of trumps some rando getting shot. But
I guess
yeah,
I was
I dig
wondering.
the art. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's I was just wondering, like, because I didn't know if the thugs and the newspaper. It's talking about the thugs at the beginning of the book, right? Like
Yeah.
that's what I thought, but it doesn't. That's another thing. It doesn't really clarify. Like it just shit just kind of happens, and you don't really know like the
Right.
timeline at all. Because it doesn't really tell you like, oh, these are the dudes from the. Because
It just says, well, it says hold up, kill. I'm looking at it. I actually have it right in front of me. Hold up, killers caught. Tell of mysterious Ghost Rider. And I guess you're just supposed to remember that those were the two
because
from the
it goes
beginning.
at the beginning, it's like current time at the beginning of the book.
Yeah.
And then he does the flashback, but it never shows the flashback going back into current time. You know what I mean?
Right. True. True.
So that's one thing that kind of, I mean, it is what it is, but it makes it harder for the reader to kind of understand what's going on a little bit.
I think the storytelling was different back then, for sure, for the books
Yeah,
and
definitely.
panels. I guess that's what it was. I do love the artwork, though. I ain't gonna lie. On the last couple panels, last couple pages of it, where he's turning into the Ghost Rider for the first time, I think it's sweet. I like that. I like
Oh
it.
yeah.
Awesome. I like it. I like his costume. All that
There
good
there
stuff.
was there was another badass panel earlier in the book where when it's showing his transformation from Ghost Rider to Johnny Blaze. It's like
Hmm.
a bunch of headshots, and I thought that was really cool.
Oh, okay, okay. But in the beginning, right?
Yeah, I think it was the beginning. It just like it's one panel, but it's like a bunch of heads. It starts out with Ghost Rider, and then it kind of just slowly goes into Johnny.
There, there was like a. I remember being in the '90s because I guess I mean not that I was around then, but I just remember stuff from back
Yeah,
then. There was like all those cheesy like '90s holographic and kind of special covers that they would charge like $3 more for. And there was always I remember there was one with Ghost Rider. I swear, like if you looked at it, it would like it was kind of like that. It was him changing. I could be wrong. I don't know why. For some reason that
oh,
rings a bell. So I read a lot of that stuff like him and the Midnight Suns and all that cool stuff. But yeah, that panel kind of made me think about that because I know there was one like that. I'll
yeah,
have to look it up and post it.
yeah. I'll definitely have to look into that because that sounds pretty cool. That my favorite panel though, it's got to be like the last one where it shows him and his bike. Like the very last panel, it was like
Oh yeah.
Ghost Rider fully his full costume, his flaming head, the bike, everything.
And the news are the people who gave him the name Ghost Rider. It's funny how that happens a lot, I guess,
Yeah,
in comic books. Like in recently, and well, it probably happened in the original She-Hulk too, but in the show, the news gave her the name She-Hulk.
yeah.
So maybe that happens a lot back in the day. I guess that would make sense because the paper news covered all that kind of stuff.
All I know is he better.
Print media.
All I know is he better trademark that name, man. Because
You better trademark it. Titania, come in.
yeah,
Start making start making scented candles with Ghost Rider on it.
yeah.
The flame.
Ghost Rider perfume.
Oh yeah. Yeesh.
But
So
yeah,
yeah,
it
this
pretty
was a
much.
pretty cool book though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. What would you rate it? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate
Oh
this?
man, it's hard. It's hard to rate these. I mean, we do these movies sometimes. I mean, which I'm a big fan of too. But these classic movies. But man, these first appearances stuff. People, it's hard to rate them because people, if you don't give them like a 10 out of 10, you're eaten alive. But it's hard. The storytelling was a little off. But like I said, I think it's product of its time. Excuse me. But I did like the art, so I would say 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10, something like that.
Yeah, I would. I agree with you. I would go with a 7. Um, it was a good book, but and it's a classic. It's just the story was a little all over the place, and which is product of its time, which is understandable.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'd definitely give it a 7 out of 10, if not 8 out of 10. So I'm with you on that one.
Nice, nice, nice.
But yeah, and then it was kind of cool. Did you notice that instead of saying the end, it said like the beginning?
Right. Yeah, I did notice that, and I had never noticed that before in like a story like that. So
Yeah, that was kind of cool
that
that they
was,
did that.
yeah, I dig it a lot. It's always been a fun character, and I enjoyed the Nick Cage movies, even though they're terrible. But I just like the effects in them when he's Ghost Rider. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, man, I grew up with those movies, so um it has like a special play. I watch them all the time. There's so many people who hate on those movies.
Those movies, I think they suffer from lack of good villain is the only problem. I think Nick Cage is always awesome, but man, their villains in those movies are terrible,
Yeah.
and that's my opinion on that. But everything else, I think, is awesome. I like when he's you know peeing fire
Right.
everywhere. It's ridiculous, but it's fun. It'd be nice if they ever brought it back in this. multiverse thing that they got going on, but we'll see. Who knows? You never know. I don't see why not. I'm sure he would do it. I'm sure Nick Cage would be more than happy to be part of the MCU.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, definitely. Yeah, and I don't know, they've been doing a lot of Ghost Rider like toys, like Hasbro. I don't know if you've seen that they're making new Ghost Rider toys.
I did. I saw they got Ghost Rider with the car. I don't know the exact name of it, but yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
pretty expensive too.
Oh yeah, wasn't it like 300 and something or
$350?
Man, it's not even like, it's cool, but it's not that cool, you know.
Hey, I mean, I get it. It's each their own, but I'm good.
I mean, I'll pay like for a statue easily, a Ghost Rider statue, but man, I don't know.
You better light up. You better actually catch fire and like be able to
right.
be able to put itself out and start over again. I don't know.
I better be able to like summon Satan with this.
Right? $350, man.
Because he's
so yeah, I'm not taking it out of the box. I'll tell you right now, for $50.
Right.
It's gonna sit in my closet. Jeez.
All right, man. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap this up. Thanks for coming on again, as always. I think the followers are noticing you, and you're part of the team, man.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm happy to be here. This is fantastic. Can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, it's always nice having somebody to talk to on here instead of just talking to myself and, you know, pretty much.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. You just don't start talking back. That's all I can say. You start answering yourself, then we got a problem.
Yeah, that'd be a good episode. Just me going back and forth with different personalities.
You could like record yourself and then record the answer. Do it back and forth. Fantastic.
Right, with a different voice.
Exactly. Perfect. You're welcome.
All right, man. All right. I know that everybody has heard it before, but just in case somebody starts with this episode, where can people follow Science Broe at?
Just at Science Broe with an E. BROE. Science Broe with an E on Instagram, Facebook, my TikTok. I'm telling you, I'm starting to get on this TikTok thing. I mean, I might be a few years late, but I'm trying it out. So follow me if you want to follow somebody who does not what they're doing on TikTok. I'm going to make all the cringy videos you could ever want. Our science.
I was going to say, I don't think anybody really knows how to use TikTok from all the TikTok.
I don't know, man. There's some that they got it down, but yeah, I'll be one of those ones that don't. And also sciencebro.com. And the E is silent. Don't forget.
Oh, yeah, man. You can follow Morbid Curator Podcast on Facebook, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok also. Yeah, just keep on subscribing to our content and following and liking and just supporting us. It's awesome. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Just remember, get hip or rot.
All right. Hell yeah, man. Talk to you later.
All right, man. Later, bro.